Yes. Well, good morning from Amsterdam, and welcome to Sky Magazine's coverage of the Windmill tournament here from the beautiful sunshine in the heart of Holland. With me in the commentary box this morning is Ravi Vasudevan, and I am Tom Stiles, and we're going to be covering this fifth round mixed Swiss draw game as an extra bonus stream for you to make sure you get all the technical kinks out of the way on the Sky coverage. Good morning, Ravi. How are you doing?
Doing great. It was a nice first day yesterday. My voice is a little shot because I'm also playing at this tournament and I tend to yell a lot on the sidelines. So we got two pretty interesting, diverse teams here. In red, we have Grut. They are a team of youth Dutch all-stars, so a bit of a home team here. And then in white, we have Brown Chicken, Brown Cow. They're mostly from California. The TD of Layout is on that team, and he puts this team together. They actually played in U.S. Nationals, I think, back in 2009, but only 3 of them are actually on this team from that team. But they have some pickups from all around the world, from Australia and Sweden, and it's going to be a nice matchup. So this is the 9 seed versus the 10 seed, and for those of you who don't know, this is the final round of Swiss draw before we go into bracket play. So these two teams are fighting to hope to eke themselves into that top 8 bracket, so it should be a very nice and intense game. From two, looks like quite an older team in the Brown Chicken, Brown Cow versus a very, very young team. I think most of the players are below 21, a lot of them even in the 17 to 18 age range, so should be an awesome game.
It's going to be completely different styles with the youngsters of Grut. I think their average age is 17 and a half, so some real youth. And I don't think Brown Chicken, Brown Cow would be too offended if we said they have plenty of experience on their side. So hope you're able to join us for the whole day of coverage here at Sky Magazine. We've got 4 games for you, including this one. We'll be straight on after this with the women's quarterfinal, I believe. Oh, sorry, is it?
No,
women's quarterfinal. And then we've got 2 semis from the mixed and the open division towards the end of the day. And the poll is up for the first play of this game, and straight into the hands. I'm trying to of all these Brown Chicken players. Some of them have got numbers on the shirt, some of them don't. I've been trying to learn them all, but we're picking them off as we go. And Yesser Baker with the disc for Grut. The Dutch youth in the dark shirts, Brown Chicken, Brown Cow in the white shirts. And an opportunity for an early turn, but it's over the top. A little bit of inexperience, early mistakes from both sides, and it's back on serve with Brian K.I. at the back. Sweet pass up the field to Trevor. Trevor's being blocked on both sides, makes it across to Beth. Back across to Trevor again, swings it to Brian. Brian's looking up the line, but instead takes a big cross-field shot, and that's going to be, almost picked out. Did he just, it was a foul call on the throw? Either way, it looked like Alex had just let that slip through his hands. Alex Drum with the blue shorts on the far side of the pitch for Brown Chicken, Brown Cow. Tapped back in. And Brian K.I. is the tournament director for Layout in the USA, one of the biggest beach tournaments in the world. His work cut out on that front, but he's here to relax this weekend. Big disc going up from him. It's going to be lots of pressure from the Dutch youth as Grut to bring it down. And he's just called a little travel as he took a step too far forward. Bit of a careful pass. The Dutch 11 floor. Nice up the line shot to 48. Iris back to floor. Iris is one of 2 twins, and they're both wearing the same number, so we may get the 2 of them mixed up. Guaranteed we will get the 2 of them mixed up. Grut still with the disc. And a pick has been called on the play. It's coming back to 53. That's Michael Atzma. Be a handy one for the Grut side to put this one in. Nice and early. Shake things up for the team. Oh, a big bid from Trevor laying out very dynamic. Raking disc right to the back of the end zone, just beyond the outstretched reach. She misread that disc a little bit. Could have come a little bit more inside, more to the middle of the pitch. Let the disc come back towards her. She had plenty of time and not very much pressure from her American defender.
Yeah, look out. That's Flor Korlarts, who was just a little bit off on that play, reading it, but she's going to be super dangerous as a deep threat and also as an under threat. A lot of these women on this team were part of the Dutch U17 program, and they won European championships the last 2 years as the under 17. Now they've moved up to the under 20 division this year, and we'll see how they're going to do there.
So Dutch youth in strength in numbers here. A poor disc over the top of two receivers there. Trevor making a little mistake, pumping the disc over all the receiving players, and it's back in the hands of Grut, and a bid from Brian, but it's not enough. And disc is gone to the end zone. It's going to rake high. It's going to be lucky to stay in. It's floated well beyond the back of the end zone. That's a turnover from Grut. Both sides making errors aplenty so far, and they both want to get both teams wanting to get on the scoreboard, but so far 0-0.
So yeah, we can see on this replay a bit of a shot. The Dutch youth are a shooting team. They like to take some shots that look dangerous to other people. They're very successful in their indoor game, so that gives them a lot of experience on very creative and very interesting throws. It hasn't been working exceptionally well so far, but you will see once they figure out themselves that those shots are going to look like bad shots, but they're going to work a lot of the time.
Beth with the disc now for Brown Chicken, Brown Cow. And a mistake coming thick and fast from the Americans. That's their third turnover so far. And it's Sandra Lindquist with the red shirt who made that throwaway. Floor. Trying to find options. There's not very much in the middle of the stack, just a short cut out there. She looked that off, and now she's had to throw a swilly disc into the end zone. What a perfect swilly disc right to the receiver, running free. Great point from the Atzma, Michael Atzma there, with the goal from that emergency throwaway disc, scuba upside down into the middle of the end zone.
Yeah, great throw there by Floor. Put it to only where Michael could get it. Atzma, he plays in the city of Delft in the Netherlands, which is actually where I live, so he also plays a club with me sometimes. Great player. He's a new addition to this Grut team. He just joined the under-20 men's team last year, and he was a first-year player then, but super athletic, and he impressed these guys, so they've invited him to play with Grut for the first time here at Windmill.
So this effort that's gone into the Dutch youth side, that seems like a fairly new thing. I remember watching Dutch women, it's in 2011 in Europeans. Is that would be right?
Yes.
And I don't think they did very well. I don't think they did very well at all.
Well, they did win Spirit in that tournament. I do know that, but they did come in last place. The Dutch youth scene, there are a few really, really good players, and that's what Grut is basically taking the top of that talent. The talent drop-off does go down quite a bit after these Grut players, so they do have some success. Like I said, the U17 women winning Europeans for the last 2 years, and I'm very excited to see what the U20 women do now that those players have gotten a little older. But they don't quite have enough depth to go super far yet, but it is growing, and we do have some really, really nice all-stars, so we'll see how they do today.
This is an interesting play from the Brown Chicken. They've set themselves up right on the sideline here. Grut's looking a little bit like rabbits in their headlights, not exactly sure what's going to come, and the cuts come thick and fast. Isaac making a great cut downfield, using that great lead passer, and Brian, he's got himself into the end zone at a poor choice, straight across the top of the blue socks. Trying to work out, I think that's Alex Drum with the blue socks and the knee pads. All of these Brown Chicken players with different outfits.
So Ben Ort here to pick up the disc. Interesting fact about him, he was born on January 1st, 2000, so you always know his age. So we know he's 16 now since it's 2016.
It's a millennium child. So, Ort. It's been called back. Less hand signals than we had yesterday in the Irish game. Hot out there in the sunshine. We're very lucky to be sheltered in the stands away from the sun, but the players will be in the full glare of the sun, and it's a warm day. Grut moving the disc around nicely at the back of the pitch there. Ort again. And sends it deep. It's going to hang. It's going to be pressure underneath this, but the number 2 shirt of Bastien de Jong is underneath it. Oh, and what a grab that is. He takes it down. And he's been called as a strip. Well, I'm surprised by that, Ravi. What's your take?
I might be a bit biased here, rooting for the Dutch, but it looked clean, and it looks like they do retract that call. That's very typical of Grut. Ben loves to shoot, and Boston is a super athletic player. They have a lot of receiver trust. Look for Ben shooting to Boston or Walt Janssen. All 3 of them play on the adult club team, the Cambo Cakes, that I actually play for in Amsterdam as well. So I'm teammates with quite a few players here on Grut. And yeah, they're going to shoot that all day, even if they look covered, because they know that Boston and Walt are super athletic players that will make that play, even if it's a contested disc.
Yeah, Isaac withdrawing his call pretty quickly. It was interesting to see the setup there from Brown Chicken, Brown Cow, just all themselves lining up, leaving the whole pitch exposed. And Grut never seen anything like that before. They looked completely baffled by what was going on. None of them knew what to pick up. And Brian's lead pass down the pitch to Isaac was a very special disc. Should have scored it, but mistakes. 2 errors from Brown Chicken, Brown Cow have led to 2 points to the Dutch youth in Grut's. And letting the disc drop to the floor is J9. She gets it across to Dan. Dan Zwan to Brian. Brian managing to fight his way through a Dutch Youth Cup. Passes across to Trevor, back to Dan. Dan back to J9. And a drop straight up through the legs. Brian has let the disc go. Another turnover. And this is looking a one-sided affair so far. Brown Chicken need to settle the ship, stop making these errors, and get some points on the board. Let's see if they can score again. It's a scuba right across the top of the pile. No one really went to chase it down. There was an opportunity to pick it off, but reacting fastest was Sandra Lindquist for Brown Chicken. Gets the turn, gets the disc back again, but they're pinned in their own end zone. Brian finding Min on the far side of the pitch. Back to Brian. No, manages to find Sandra Lindquist now. J9. J9 to Zwan. Zwan, quick disc to Trevor. Trevor back to Zwan. Back to Lindquist. Lindquist across to KI. Far side of the pitch is J9 in acres of space and finds her. The Dutch youth using the zone to try and squash the space out of the pitch, but it's been ineffective thus far. Suzanne back to J9, back to KI. Lindquist back to KI again. Looking at it. Oh, look at that little cheeky lefty back over the head. Zwan in the end zone. Oh, and another error from this American team. Not able to complete the final pass. They were forced to make a lot of discs there.
Yeah, it actually looked like they were handling the zone quite well. I was a little curious why Grut would put that out there. It seems they're winning the one-on-one game. Here, a huge disc up.
From floor. Is it going to be red? Beautifully red, beautifully caught. Just dishes it into the end zone. A bid by Trevor is not enough. Gruts take a 3-0 lead at the start of this game. The Dutch youth dominating the American experienced players from Brown Chicken, Brown Cow thus far.
Floor and Dom are two of who was just that huge throw to that reception there. They are two of the top 3 players in that Dutch U17 team. A big reason why those guys have, that team has been so successful, and you saw it there. Lots of trust, lots of chemistry. They know how to get it to each other.
Lola Dam, the receiver, reading it perfectly, taking it as high as she could. Great technique. Get up, get your fingers wrapped around the disc and bring it down. 3-0. And almost the unwritten rule is if you take 3 points against you on a bounce, you call a timeout, and that's exactly what Brown Chicken have done. Opportunity to remind you that if you'd like to get in touch with us, and we would love you to get in touch with us, then the hashtag to do so is hashtag Windmill 2016. That's the word windmill and the numbers 2016. And you can also tweet at Skide Magazine. I'd like to say thank you to our shirt sponsors 5 for providing us with some very exciting Skide Magazine t-shirts and caps for this tournament. We look the bomb as we're wandering around the grounds.
So talking about 5, actually a funny story. I was talking to some Brown Chicken players before the game. So the layout TD, Kaye, he apparently 5 Ultimate was doing the gear at layout, and he went up to Christina, who works for 5 Ultimate Europe, and he asked her, so what do you think, layout best tournament in the world? And she's like, well, best tournament in the US. And he was like, what? Best tournament in the US, what do you mean? She's like, well, I think Windmill actually is my favorite tournament in the world. And that's how Brown Chicken, Brown Cow heard about Windmill. So then Kaye immediately said, well, I got to put a team together and go check it out. And that's the story of how that team actually got here. So it's through 5 Ultimate connections bringing teams from California out to Amsterdam.
So I wonder how much of this is a Dutch atmosphere Kaye is looking to take back and introduce into the layout atmosphere. I've seen the pitch map from layout, which looks an absolutely astonishing number of pitches. Have you been to the tournament?
I've never played layout. It's on my list of tournaments that I'd love to attend. But yeah, it's a huge tournament and apparently one of the best in the world as well. But according to 5 Ultimate, maybe second best in the world after Windmill.
Well, I was having a little chat with Kaye on the sideline, seeing if he needs an announcer for the coverage over at layout. I'd love a flight out to the USA. Check out some American beach action. Now, the other thing that we caught on yesterday, if you are on Twitter and you'd like to get in touch with us, send us a picture of you watching the Skide coverage on your TV or your phone or your computer screen, and we'll mention you on the broadcast. Isaac now for Brown Chicken sends a big disc. It's a flat disc, beautifully raking across the sky, nicely caught in the end zone. They make it look so easy when they connect, but thus far in this game they've not been connecting. That was a real switch up, made it look very simple. Alex Drum on the end of that disc from Isaac Connolly. Brown Chicken have got a lot of talent, a lot of experience in this game. They looked a little bit flustered so far.
Yeah, it's been, their deep game is really, really good. That seems to be where they're getting a lot of success. And then on their short passes, I think Grut has some nice athleticism and is making those short passes really hot and contested. Grut needs to really be careful with those deep shots. If they can put a little more pressure on that, I think they can make life even more difficult for Brown Chicken. But having that nice deep game can tend to open up your under game. So now Grut will have to respect that, and we'll see how they adapt. But let's see, this is now first opportunity for Grut to put their own line out there, and we'll see what Brown Chicken can do against the defense. If I had to guess, I would say there's going to be a big deep shot from Grut, but we'll see.
Disc is back in action. Big disc straight away from Grut, sending it high and long. It's going to be in the air long enough to get a Dan Zwan underneath it from Brown Chicken. Just applies enough pressure. That disc was in the air way too long. If you compare that with the previous disc from Isaac from Brown Chicken, which soared directly low, no chance of any defense, that was a completely different disc there. Maybe a little bit of the inexperience now with Suzanne steadying the ship for Brown Chicken. Gets it to Alex Drum. Drum looking for Lindquist. Lindquist is available to the dump, but takes the Zwan option up the line. And Trevor Smith in the end zone takes it two-handed. Tiny bit gratuitous, Trevor, but it worked. And the chest bump each other to the ground. Good work. So Brown Chicken 2 on the spin, re-establishing themselves in this game. I saw a little bit of the difference in the quality of the deep shots there. That the disc from Ben Ort, was it, that soared high, stayed in the air for about 15 seconds, and plenty of D underneath it when it came down.
Yeah, like I said, they love to shoot. Once Ben sees Walter Boston going deep, he's going to put it up there and kind of trust that his receiver will make the play on the disc rather than maybe throwing that open shot to space. It's more throwing and trusting your receiver. There, great defensive positioning by Brown Chicken there to make sure that Walt had to go up really early and wasn't able to come down with it. So yeah, they need to improve that a little bit, make sure the shot is a bit of a nicer shot to take, and we'll see if they can manage that on this next point.
A lot of action all the way around this tournament. It's 80 teams here for Windmill in Amsterdam this weekend. 40 teams in the mixed division, 16 in the women's and 24 in the open. I think they're actually calling it the men's division, are they? They're calling it the open division.
We call it the open division. In the U.S., they've changed that to men's now, but in WIFDIF, it's still officially called open.
Ben Ort bringing the disc to the brick mark, having seen that one sail out to the side of the pitch. A pull from Brown Chicken. It's a hot day here in Amsterdam. Yesterday was pretty much the perfect ultimate conditions. Slightly overcast, nice and cool. A lot of the players said it was very heavy, the air. And Brown Chicken have thrown their own zone now. It's a sort of loose, what's it, an arrowhead sort of affair. Beth on the chase with the pink shorts and the pink hat. Cover from Junkyard and Suzanne. Disc goes over the top and beautifully exposing the space behind that. Nice and calm. Chile from the Dutch youth. They're going to take their time, not going to rush it. Could have taken that early shot into the end zone. Maybe they should have done, but they've still got the disc. And they've broken right through that zone. Swings back across to Ort. Ort has got options. And chooses Floor. Floor right on the end zone line. Looking to put this one in. Available, but takes the shot over the top. Risky disc. It's going to have to get some pressure, and it does. Junkyard spanking that one away. And the number 2 shirt, Baston de Jong, goes to the ground. Any complaints from him?
He looks like he is maybe trying to call foul there. I feel like Junkyard went straight up. Boston actually tried to jump back into him. From my perspective, it was a clean D. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, it was a fair D. He might. Junkyard had position. He had plenty of time to get position because that disc was in the air for a while. He'll send the disc back by the looks of things. And 2 players shake hands. So those tricky calls are one of the things that the players are learning at the same time as they're learning how to play the sport. Maybe in 3 or 4 years' time that'll be a completely different decision from Baston, but it's called a foul on it, and the disc has gone back. Floor to Ort. Ort, second time round, grabs it. Isaac Connolly marking for Brown Chicken, hands low. Manages to get around a beautiful disc from Ort. And a hammer over the top. Oh, this time a mistake. It goes Lola Dam, not able to connect. Too quick. She was rising, tried to catch it one-handed. A little bit of pressure from the mark there as well, the 39 shirt of Min.
Very uncharacteristic of Dam. She has extremely sticky fingers, usually catching everything. So that was the right option for Grut, but yeah, sometimes mistakes are made. Here, a huge inside throw from Brown Chicken.
Suzanne puts it into space, chasing down. There's going to be pressure, but yeah, big mismatch there between the huge figure of Alex Drum and the very slight figure of Floor Colarts. Drum taking it down nice and easy. We saw, again, the long disc from Isaac Connolly. He really is a boss with that inside-out flick, low, hanging, perfect amount of weight and touch on it. Can't wait to see some more deep shots from him later on in this game.
And all of a sudden, it's 3-3, so Brown Chicken score and get 2 breaks in a row of their own. Grut seeming to, doing what they do, which is maybe taking a riskier shot, trying to trust their receivers. Maybe if they play a little more patient and play the game to find that open space, they can have a bit more luck, because it seems like they're having trouble getting the disc back from Brown Chicken in these points. So back and forth. Right now the momentum is with Brown Chicken. Ultimate is definitely a game momentum, so let's see if Grut can score this one and stop the bleeding and try to get on a run of their own, or if Brown Chicken will continue.
Yeah, the first 3 points of this, it didn't really look like Brown Chicken had showed up yet, but they've clearly shaken off the Windmill hangover now. And they're right in this game, forcing another error. Oh, this time it's picked off. Dan Zwan just macking the disc forward, caught by the Dutch youth side, keeping it alive and keeping it moving. But the pressure is starting to tell. Mistakes creeping into the play. A rushed disc here. An errant throw there. And a pick's been called. Disc goes back. Yes, Obaka with the disc. And it's stopped. Nels Bohm. 34 shirt with the cap on backwards. A lot of people wearing the caps on backwards today, protect the back of the neck from the sunshine. Bohm. Backer. Backer, nice 1-2 with Bohm. Bohm looks down the line. Spanks that one. Is going to go too far out of the back of the end zone. Red. Beautifully red. Oh, just chases it down. Never gave up. And it was one of the twins, either Iris or Annick Leninger. They're both, they're identical twins and they both wear the same number. So we're just going to refer to them both as Leninger, because I don't think there's any other choice, is there?
Yeah, I mean, I've been living in the Netherlands for some years, and I've seen them play. I can't tell them apart. Maybe they're wearing different shorts. One has a number 16 shorts, so maybe we can find out. The one who just caught it has 16 shorts. I'm trying to find the other one. And next to her, 97 shorts. So maybe if some astute Dutch observer can tell us which one is which, the 97 and the 16 shorts, then we can maybe get their names right. So shout us out on Twitter, #Windmill2016, if you know which twin has which number on their shorts.
Yeah, you can also hit us on at Skide Magazine. I'm also at Tom Styles. Ravi, are you on Twitter?
I'm not really on Twitter, no. I follow on Twitter, but I don't really use my handle for anything else, so hit Tom Styles or Skide Magazine.
Nice high disc from the Dutch team. Brian Ki looks to reset across to Isaac. Dangerous, lurking. Gone for a deep shot of his own. Trevor's there. It's going to be Floor underneath it. And Trevor just ran into the back of Floor, who'd positioned herself beautifully to try and defend that disc. She had pitch position, and no problems there. The beautiful play from Floor just took away the space. And good defense. He's taking a deep shot of her own here. It's going to be pressure. Oh, how early did he go up for that? Floats it into the end zone. Look at this play from the Grut's team. Nice, tasty stuff. Determined, steely defense at one end of the pitch and some great throws to make it up to the other end of the pitch. Impressive stuff.
Yeah, Grut now with the momentum. It seems to be just going on runs either way. Now the score is 5-3 for the Dutch youth. Great athleticism from Walt Janssen there. That's what he loves to do. He goes up super early. You never expect that he's there in time to get the disc, and he comes down with it almost every time. And then a great put into the end zone, totally into space. Great point from the youth ones. Great D there from both Floor and Lola to kind of use their teamwork. Floor getting the position and then Lola catching that D. And then a great point to score. So we'll see what happens with Grut, if they can keep going on this run, or if Brown Chicken will stop the bleeding of their own.
So if you've just tuned in, you want to know a little bit more about these teams. Brown Chicken, Brown Cow is a team put together by the tournament director of Layout because he heard that this tournament was better than his, I think is basically the top and bottom of it. He runs Layout in America, one of the biggest beach tournaments in the world. In fact, the biggest beach tournament in the world by some margin, I would say, isn't it?
I'm not sure if Wildwood or Layout. Wildwood is the tournament in New Jersey. It's also quite big. I don't know which one's bigger, actually.
And he heard that Windmill was the only tournament that anyone rated as good as or better than his, so he thought he'd come and find out what it was all about. Beth with the disc now deep in their own end zone. Brown Chicken suffering for a little bit of pressure here. Isaac not able to connect with that one. Goes to the floor. And we might see a 3-point run, followed by a 3-point run, followed by a 3-point run. Will we see Brown Chicken call another timeout? Just breaks around the force. Disc into the end zone. Lola Dam receiving the disc from Baston de Jong. Nice fake, low release. Great use of the flexibility and agility of these young players.
Yeah, that was all set up by the amazing pull. Actually, pull is sometimes a undervalued skill in Ultimate. But I'm not sure who pulled it from Grut, but they got a nice floaty, huge pull there, and they had their whole defense there. And I know as a handler, having the disc in the back of that end zone with a pressured defense is a very, very tough spot to get out of. And I think that's what caused the pressure and forced them to turn that disc. So yeah, like you said, a 3-point run from Grut, followed by a 3-point run from Brown Chicken, and now a 3-point run from Grut. So we'll see what happens next in this nice game. Seems like a pretty nice matchup, two completely different styles of play, but interesting to see who's going to come out on top of this one.
And if you weren't already aware, if you've missed the start of the broadcast this morning, the Grut's team is basically the Dutch youth squad. So from under 17s, it's kind of the best of the Dutch youth. The average age of this team is 17 and a half. It bodes very, very well for the future of Dutch Ultimate, to be honest. Great players. Isaac with another deep shot. That's beautifully put. Alex Drum in acres of space. And we've seen shot after shot deep into the end zone from Isaac Connolly. He really is flicking it so beautifully. That sidearm float, either with an inside out or a little bit of roll on that time. And Drum knew exactly where it was going to finish up. It was right there.
Yeah, the Dutch really have to be careful with those deep shots. I mean, it seems like they're giving just a little bit too much chase for their nice big American receivers. I think they should be backing them and forcing them to throw more passes. That seems to be where the Dutch can put more pressure on. That's what I would adapt on defense for Grut. So let's see if Brown Chicken ends up getting another 3-point run, or if Grut can stop that pattern from occurring.
We've had a few issues with our broadcast this morning, up and down with our network connection. We're hoping that if you're able to hear us now, we've kept commentating, and we will put this game up so you can watch it after the affair if you want to. If you're watching in the Netherlands or you're watching in the USA, if you're watching in the Netherlands, good morning. If you're watching in the USA, you're probably still in bed. You may not have gone to bed yet, but I hope you're enjoying the coverage. Pressure from the Brown Chicken now as they set up a 3-person cup. Disc over the top. And an error straight into the hands of Isaac Connolly. He doesn't shoot deep. Brian K.I. dishes back to Connolly. Connolly with a deep shot. Beautiful flick again into the space. What a bid. Lola Dam getting huge and horizontal. The disc was way out in front of her, but there was absolutely no chance she was going to leave that to anything other than a D. Brilliant, brilliant work from the young Dutch player in the number 4 shirt.
Yeah, quite amazing closing speed there. I think that the Brown Chicken player did have good position when the throw went up, but Lola Dam, you can see here on the replay, just huge closing speed, lays out at the immediate right moment, and gets that hand on that disc. Great play by Lola.
Completely fearless as well, and now the Dutch looking at that zone again. Blade into space. A little bit of a nervy catch. Manages to center it up again. Steady the ship. Flowing into space. Ben Ort on the far side. You can see Lola Dam in acres of space. Surely the blade is a little bit too aggressive. Is asking a lot of even her receiving skills. And it didn't need to be that aggressive. Lola was in so much space on the far side of the pitch. But that's a turn, a gift back to the Americans. And Brian Kaye picking it up again for Brown Chicken, Brown Cow.
So yeah, you can see the Dutch have those blady throws. Ben's actually got a pretty nasty blade. It was just a little bit too far to the left there for Lola to be able to read it. And they craft those throws and get used to them by playing indoor. In Dutch Ultimate, we have outdoor season and indoor season. We play on hard court for you Americans that maybe play indoor on an indoor soccer field. No, we play on like a hard court, like an indoor soccer court. With like basketball type of floor, and that's where you can craft those blady throws and perfect them, and Ben loves throwing that stuff.
Kaye now to Min. huge beard, but doesn't connect. To Kaye. Kaye is getting some pressure and the stall counts are getting high. Lola down with another outstretched hand. Beautiful disc to Suzanne, to Zwan. Dan Zwan on the far side. The connection between this team of Americans is pretty tight. Alex Drum in space. Nice 1-2 return pass to Beth. Beth Lieberts and floaty over the top. Suzanne comes down with it. And Brown Chicken. Might it happen? 3 points to the Dutch, 3 points to the Americans, 3 points to the Dutch. Could we see 3 points to the Americans again? It's crazy. What a game.
It seems to be happening. Well, they've only scored 2 so far, but yeah, the Dutch need to clean up their game a little bit. Brown Chicken, I think, got a little lucky on that throw. I don't know if that receiver was that first choice. It seemed to go a little higher than the thrower intended, but nice backup from Brown Chicken. Yeah, like I said, 2 completely different styles of play, but Brown Chicken seem to really be relying on their deep shots, so the Dutch really have to figure out a way to stifle that and make them pressure and get those underneath cuts where I think the Dutch can get those. You saw Boston de Jong almost getting that layout D. He has on the back of his shirt the Flying Dutchman, and that's for a very good reason. He has some of the most amazing layouts that I've ever seen from any player.
And the 2 tall, rangy athletes for Brown Chicken. We've seen Trevor Smith in the pink shorts already get horizontal twice, and the fast running deep shot availability of Alex Drum bringing down some big discs as well. It's great to see Americans coming over for this sort of tournament. It's not very many tournaments that can attract quality US teams, but the Windmill has a reputation for being competitive and fun, and quite rightly so. Ben Ort flicks around to Leninger. Leninger to Bakker. Bakker back to Ort. Just trying to find a way over the top. Uses the blade again. Poor choice. It wasn't. The execution wasn't there, and KI has got the disc, looking to complete this 3-3-3-3 set of points. But it's both Drum and Smith letting that disc dive in front of them. Both thought the disc was for the other, or maybe it was just a poor disc. Janssen now. To floor, back to Janssen. Leninger. To floor, back to Leninger. Back to floor. 2 of them happy to just keep the disc between the 2 of them. Ort and floor again. Ort looking for that nice tasty disc. Just that movement spreads the cup, allows them to get the disc across to this near side. And the Brown Chicken quite happy to let them go back across the pitch. Are they going to try and pin them on that sideline? Alex Drum just walking up. Ben Ort just waiting for him to arrive and then just flicking it over his head. Nice. And a touch there from Junkyard. Gets a touch between the hands of the receiver. The 11 shirt is Fleur Collarts, who's played a key part in advancing the disc there, but KI has got it for Brown Chicken. Brown cow again. Sandra Lindquist. Across to J9. J9 up the line to Josie. Josie back to Lindquist. Floating. It's going to be read beautifully by Ort. Ort is looking for that deep shot, and he sends it. Not a good disc. It's going to rail towards the sideline, but it's into the hands of the Dutch receiver. And a little pop-off across the top now makes it look so easy. No defense on that one. The Dutch stop the rot. It looked like Brown Chicken were going to get themselves back into that game, returning the 3 points, but that feels like a bit of stability's been applied to by this Dutch youth team, finally capitalizing on the mistakes which Brown Chicken keep making, keep letting themselves back into this game. And fantastic play. They lead this one 7-5.
Yeah, finally we don't get a 3-point run, so that's the first time that's happened so far this game. I would like the Dutch. I mean, I love Ben's throws and his shots, but he has to be a bit sharper on them. He seems to be just a little hair off. But the great thing is that the Dutch seem to be playing really, really nice defense whenever they turn that disc over, applying pressure. Brown Chicken have had good shots. They seem to be a little bit of unforced errors, but sometimes that's just because the pressure on the D is a lot harder than we can tell from down there. So the Dutch up now, 7-5. For those who don't know much about the format, there's a Swiss draw format. These teams are 9 and 10, and after this round, we will go into bracket play. So these teams, if they can get a nice score difference in this game, might be able to eke themselves into that top 8, assuming one of those teams up there maybe gets shut out really, really hard. They could steal a spot into that bracket play. So if the Dutch right now, who are up, want to get there, they actually have to win by quite a significant margin. So they're not going to be content just to win the game. They're going to really try to be winning by as big of a margin as they can. Another huge pull here, but it's going to sail out of bounds. And Brown Chicken will be able to take it from the brick mark.
Nice atmosphere starting to build in this rugby stadium, mainly because it's such a raging hot day, and this is pretty much the only place where there's any shelter from the sun. So Dan Swan big shot straight away. Isaac Connolly proving he's got the legs as well as the disc to eat up the ground and collect that one in, and the two of them race towards each other again. Big chest bump. Blimey, I won't want to do too many chest bumps with Isaac Connolly. Looks like he'd destroy me.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the first time we have seen Connolly on the other side of those hucks. He's usually throwing them. But yeah, like I said before, the Dutch need to back their people here on defense. That seems to be what Brown Chicken is excelling at, is on that deep game. So now the score is 7-6. The Dutch would like to have a hold here to end up taking the half, and I believe the Dutch started on defense to start and got 3 breaks at the beginning. So if the Dutch hold here, they will get to start on offense in the second half, and being up 8-6 starting on offense, that's a good place to be. So we'll see if the Dutch can manage to play their nice and solid game. If maybe Ben can sharpen his throws a bit, make sure he gets them right on targets, I think they should be able to score pretty easily. I would expect to see Brown Chicken coming down in that junky zone look again. It looks like something of a 1-3. That seems to be giving them, the Dutch, a lot more problems than when Brown Chicken comes down man. So we'll see here. Score is 7-6. Brown Chicken about to pull.
How do we spell this Dutch team name again?
G-R-U-T. Grut.
Live tweeting at the same time as we're commentating here, trying to make sure we covered all the media channels. You can do that for us as well if you want to spread the word. Put the link that you've got, share it on your social media channel. Big disc going up, Lola Dam right at the back of the end zone. Trevor Smith accepting he was thoroughly beaten by her. Wiley sneaking away, and the deep shot from this Dutch youth side. Average age of this team in the maroon shirts is 17 and a half years old. So there's some real young players here, and I think even the oldest player is only 21. So they are a very, very young team. And the Dutch meaning of the word Grut is rugrats. So they're just kids, aren't they? Just kids playing frisbee, having a good time. And they've got a lot to learn. They're still making some mistakes that you'd want to see them get rid of as they get more experienced and mature. But the raw talent on display here is very, very impressive indeed. And the Brown Chicken, Brown Cow losing the half, 8-6. Grut's in the ascendancy.
Just a couple other things about Grut. They are actually currently the Dutch mixed champions. In Holland, we do an open championship in the spring and a mixed championship in the fall. So actually all the players can play both open women's in the spring or mixed in the fall. And Grut came out and won the Dutch championship last year. And for those of you who don't know how the club scene works in Europe, in the US it usually goes sectionals, regionals, nationals. In Europe it goes nationals, regionals, Europeans. So now the Grut team have earned a spot into regionals, where the Dutch are in the same region with Germany, Belgium, Denmark, and maybe Luxembourg, I think. So Grut are hoping to show themselves in this in the European club scene and earn a spot to the European club finals. That'll be later on this fall. Yeah, Brown Chicken, Brown Cow, mostly from California, as we said, from Kaye, the layout TD, sorry. and but they do have some pickups. They have some players from Australia, some players from Sweden, and some players from Canada, as well as a couple players from Texas and Utah, really from all over the world. Junkyard, the player who's gotten a couple nice Ds in this game, I actually met him at the beginning of this tournament. He was looking for a team to pick up with. He came here, he knew he wanted to come play Windmill, and he just showed up and then went around asking teams. Looks like he found a pretty nice team to play on. So Tom, we talked a bit yesterday. This is your first Windmill. Can you maybe give some other impressions of how your evening went last night, how the rest of this tournament goes, and the festival vibe at Amsterdam?
I wish I could tell you how my evening went last night, Ravi, but what goes on at Windmill stays in Windmill. I did see a beer race, which was the like of which I've never seen before. You know, normally a beer race is just people just chugging beers, but this was very inventive, very exciting. There was hurdling, there was a space hopper involved, there was some jelly shots. And there was a three-legged race as well. It was pretty amazing stuff. We're getting videoed for our documentary maker over here as well. Hello. So yeah, multimedia streaming wherever you are. Hope you're enjoying the coverage we're able to bring you. You're listening to Tom Stiles and Ravi Vasudevan.
Yeah, we have Nena here. Nena, I think she plays for Grut sometimes, or do you not?
I played one time for them.
She's another upstart from the youth scene, but she has graduated and is playing on the Dutch women's national team, who are having a nice weekend as well. We'd like to talk, shout out to Secure Cyber Communications, who have been helping us out getting all the technical stuff going on at this tournament to get this live stream up. So we hope all of you are enjoying it at home. I know we have some technical difficulties, but the game will be up on YouTube after the stream is over, so you can rewatch all the action at that point. So yeah, the beer race that Tom was talking about, that's organized by Carly Blair. She's another American living in Amsterdam, always part of the Windmill organization, doing some creative stuff. She puts a lot of effort into that beer race to make it as creative as possible, and like you said, it's pretty interesting. There's also a big game of Mingle Mingle last night. For those of you who know that Frisbee game after the game, it's called Mingle Mingle. Where a lot of teams like to do it at fun tournaments where you have to find some random person and do some position that gets yelled out. Here at Windmill, we do a very big version of it with a couple hundred players starting off, so that's always great fun. That's a classic here at Mingle Mingle, started by Tom Vyers, who was one of the guys who started up Windmill back 11 or 12 years ago.
I made it quite far through the Mingle Mingle game last night. I thought I was on for a sort of a top 20 finish, but couldn't quite find someone to grab quickly enough in the wedding position. Anyway, the Dutch youth team of Grut set off with a horizontal stack. Lola Dam reaching and grabbing smoothly with one hand. Dishes it to Ben Ort. Ben Ort jacks it straight away. Going to be pressure under this from Trevor Smith, who gets up beautifully. Great D from the pink shorted American. Brown Chicken saw that. Maybe they're getting used to every time that Ben's got the disc, he's going to send it, and Trevor got the legs and got the horizontal ability to take that one out of the sky ahead of Bastien de Jong.
Yeah, that's a great matchup to watch. Both players super physical, super great at laying out. So Trevor got the better of Boston on that one, but I'm sure Boston's pretty eager to try and get that one back. Let's see if he can.
Big disc from Dan Zwan. Up into the sky, it's raking across. It's going to be pressure underneath this one. Oh, just enough from Bastien de Jong. A bit of a disagreement between the two players about what was okay and what was not. Junkyard arguing he had position. What was your take on that one, Ravi?
I think both players were definitely making a clean bid at the disc. Boston happened to be behind the Brown Chicken player, which made it so that the Brown Chicken player couldn't get there, but I think it was a totally clean disc. Elliot Trotter from Skyd showing up saying, on what planet is that a foul? So we'll see. That's the opinion of the booth over here. Disc will be sent back.
Oh, what does the booth know, hey? Just because we can see, we have a perspective. Well, it's what goes on pitch that matters. And Nails Boom covering Dan's one, trying to stop the upfield pass this time, and does so. Junkyard chasing that one down. So that's not Junkyard, is it? That's not Junkyard. Sends the disc deep. Trevor Smith rising to get it. Bastien de Jong getting a D. Who's the guy with the...
Again, they're the great matchup between Boston DeYoung and Trevor there. This time Boston getting it back, like I said. He was very hungry, wasn't very happy to lose the matchup downfield. I'm excited to hopefully see another big disc going to that pair. But it seems that Boston is now backing up into the handler position. Maybe he's saying it shouldn't be for me. I'll give it to some of my other teammates since he knows he has such an athletic defender taking him out.
So it was Alex Drum there making that big pass. Alt to Minard. Minard to De Jong. Smith all over him like a rash, trying to make him stop the pass across the pitch. Beautifully opening up the space. Janssen. Floaty, it's going to be an angle on that. Lindquist just in a great position, read it beautifully, got in front. Got the D, and no question from Floor. Collarts that a turnover was earned there. Lindquist reading that. Disc was a little bit floaty. Nels Boom not quite getting the angle out of attack. Didn't lead the receiver enough. And Sandra Lindquist reading it beautifully and bringing it down. Brown chicken, brown cow. And the team from the Dutch youth system. Dutch mixed champions. Average age of 17 and a half, this team at the moment. In the red shirts. Oh, beautifully read by Ben Orton. Flicks it to the floor. And it's punched to the ground by Floor Collarts. Ben Ort beautifully intercepting that disc as Brown Chicken tried to go through the cup. And they take a 3-point lead, 9-6.
Yeah, that's actually a honey pass there. Ben and Floor have been together for a couple of years now. Two of the best Dutch youth players, and they seem to have found each other through this sport.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
It's very sweet. They're like 16 and 17 or something. And yeah, I think they've been together since they were like 14 and 15. So very, very adorable couple. Yeah, the Frisbee royalty. We're trying to breed the next youth generation. We think very long term here in the Dutch system here.
So if you do want to get in touch with us, we'd really love you to get in touch with us. We're here at Sky Magazine covering 4 games for you today. This is a bonus one. We were up and we had all the gear set up and we just thought we'd turn it on, see who's watching. How many people have we got on the stream at the moment, Mike? We've got a Mike. We had the stream has been up and down, but we have 109 people watching at the moment. And Mike Palmer, who's one of the technical crew for Skyed, he'll be in London for Worlds as well, is running all the knobs and buttons. And myself, Tom Stiles, and Ravi Vasudevan covering the commentary duties, enjoying the bit of sunshine. And Hilko Bukma on the camera, who could forget? He's doing a great job. He's here all weekend. Hilko, very familiar face around the Dutch Ultimate scene. He's also done a Blockstack TV episode or 2 in his time. J9 and Beth exchanging quick discs, and across to Dan Zwan. It's a very compressed field at the moment. The Dutch taking away the options. J9 finding Suzanne. Suzanne looking back to J9. Swings across to Beth. Ladies doing all the handling at the moment. Beth's a high disc to Isaac Connolly, but he rises and takes it two-handed. Back to Beth. Jams it through the middle to Suzanne. Back to Isaac. Isaac's got a deep shot in Brian Ki, but it's not a serious deep threat with the mark that he's got on him. Dan Zwan now finds Ki, and that's his more natural position, looking as a handler. Trying to jam it through the cup. The Dutch youth still running around. Isaac Connolly to Beth. Back to Connolly. No luck to J9. She takes a couple of grabs at that, manages to keep hold of it. Ki. Suzanne, back to Ki, back to Connolly. Connolly almost got it blocked. Back to Ki, taking a few risks here. To Beth. Beth now within 10 yards of the end zone. Beautiful work from the American Brown Chicken, Brown Cow team in the white. Working it up through this Dutch Youth Cup. Beth jams it into the end zone. Dan Zwan on the sideline, takes it down. That is awesome work. How to play around a zone. Patience, speed, very rarely getting to a stall 1 or even a stall 2. And the Americans put another point on the board. 9-7 they trail the Dutch youth team Grut.
Yeah, I actually really like that D look from Grut. I mean, I know the Americans ended up scoring it, but that was not their A game. Their A game is their hucking game, and with that zone, they forced them to throw a million passes, and a couple of them were contested and pressured. So I think you got to try and take them into their A game. It turns out Brown Chicken's B game is also pretty good, but that's what you have to do. That's what good defense is made of, to try and figure out what will be the weakness that they can end up capitalizing on and getting those turns.
Yeah, certainly when Brown Chicken have been allowed to exploit their big receivers and their good hookers, then they have been absolutely deadly. Isaac Connolly has thrown some of the best long discs, sidearms particularly, that I've seen in a long time. Just enough touch, a little bit of inside out, a little bit of roll, perfectly weighted into the path of the receivers, who obviously knows and understands very well. Connolly taken to the pitch again. But he had some legs as well. He had some wheels, didn't he? He was getting down there deep on his own as well.
Yeah, it's a very talented player. He's doing things on both sides of the disc.
KI raises the disc above his head. The layout tournament director from the USA with the Brown Chicken Brown Cow team pulling to Grut, this young Dutch side from the youth development system, showing us what the future of Ultimate in the Netherlands is going to look like. The future is bright. The future is orange, or in this case a sort of mauvey red. Bastan de Jong taps it in. And a quick disc to Ben Ort. It wasn't Ort, it was Walt Janssen. Back to Bohm. Now Ort looking to make that cut, and again Trevor Smith making his life difficult. Smith offering hands up and not really giving very many options out there. Walt Janssen to Lola Dam. Bid from Smith, just drops in front of Ort. He has to pick himself up as Ort runs down the line. And deep shot into the end zone. Connolly's underneath this and takes it down, no mistake at all. And Min got a bit of a clattering. Min Huyn on the way through, but the disc was well broadcast into that open side, and Isaac Connolly read it nicely. Gets a turnover for Brown Chicken. It's been a good game in terms of the turnovers. We've had a lot of action, both teams not particularly clinical. And KI, beautiful read on that disc, finds Smith in the middle of the pitch. Trevor Smith back to KI. Brian KI looking for options, finds Min running deep, but she stops her cut and goes back into the pile. Isaac Connolly is available on this near side, down to Drum. Drum looks for the little underneath to Connolly. Janssen just stepping off, covering it. Big disc into the corner of the pitch. Lola Dam reads it, get her hand down to that, and both teams managing to sweep up these end zone shots and getting the turnovers.
Yeah, that blade looked more like a Grut shot than a Brown Chicken shot. Seems like they were trying to show that they had that too, but didn't work out. There seems to be some discussion on the field. I think Kaye is taking an injury at the moment. That seems to be what's happening.
Brian Kaye in the 31 shirt and the red shorts. Have he twisted something or pulled something, or he doesn't seem to be walking in any particularly difficult way.
Maybe he's just exhausted from the heat. I don't know. It seems the Junkyard's coming in for him, who has also been very good on D, so we'll see how that goes.
And bringing it up is...
Yeah, it's Ben Ort. One thing, Grut, I don't think took a sub there. I think that's not a good call. In this heat, if they get a set of fresh legs after a long point like this, you want to put a set of fresh legs yourself. So Boston taking the timeout, freshen up their legs, take a little rest, take a little breather.
Yeah, it was a smart call. This heat is quite intense for myself and Ravi. And Hilko and Mike sitting up here in the stands, enjoying a bit of shelter from the blazing sun. The Amsterdam weather treating us to quite an afternoon. And filling that afternoon will be some fantastic live Ultimate, which we hope to be able to bring you via Skyd Magazine's coverage here from the Amsterdam tournament. Windmill is the name of the tournament. If you've never heard of the tournament before, then this is the place to be for hot European quality Ultimate. A lot of traveling teams as well. We've got teams from Colombia who've traveled across especially for this event. several teams from the USA, and we've also got teams from Israel, Hungary, the Italians are here, Spanish team are here, several teams from Great Britain, both club teams and national teams in 5 different divisions. So all 5 different divisions which are competing at Worlds in London have sent their national sides from Great Britain, and I think Germany have got all 5 divisions represented here at the tournament as well.
Yeah, Germany has, I think they also have both their women's team and their women's masters team are playing in the women's division. Their open team has decided to allow for a split and let their club teams actually come and compete here, which was a decision made by the German open team. Actually, they haven't been to too many tournaments. Very strong program, but I think that they also really respect that their club teams are what fuels that national team, so that they give them space to play at international tournaments. I just had a look. We now know the women's quarterfinal matchups, and I think we're going to be streaming right after this GB women versus Austria women, which is one of the quarterfinals. Winner of that game will play the winner of Germany versus Eyecatchers. On the other side of the bracket, we have Belgium versus France, and the winner of that will play GB versus Switzerland in a GB Masters versus Switzerland. So nice quarterfinal setup in the women's division. So look for GB women versus Austria women will be next on the live stream right after this match between Grut and Brown Chicken, Brown Cow.
So our first look at the GB women setup this year. They've had a couple of difficult games this tournament so far. Took a fairly heavy defeat to France, losing that one by 3 or 4 points in their second round Swiss draw game. And the margin of defeat is one of the big factors in this Swiss draw format, power ranking system they use to compare all the teams. And that I think, is that the 4-5 game that we've got that we're watching. So I think Great Britain are the 4th ranked team at the moment, and Austria the 5th ranked team, if I'm correct. But Ravi's going to confirm that for us with all the stats that he has at his hands. So the game's back in. Basten de Jong. And just beyond Walt Janssen, the disc goes to ground.
Austria are 4 and GB are 5 at the moment.
Connolly, high disc, caught by Smith. Rises gracefully, puts the disc to Min. Min Huyn, looking for options, and she finds Dan Swan behind her. Junkyard cutting into that open lane and finds it, but it's beyond him, goes to ground, turnover. Errant throw from Dan Swan. Disc across to Janssen. Running into space, Swan almost got his fingertips to it, but Basten de Jong, just that big fake, opens up the pitch and puts a nice disc down to his teammate. Flowing now to Lola Dam. Dam got the cut available on the inside, nice, but it's just too aggressive for Min Huyn. She gets the turnover for Brown Chicken, Brown Cow. They're advancing again. Dan Swan going down the line. Sandra Lindquist bouncing it off her chest, and it's another turn back to the Dutch. Lola Dam running over it. The handling line of Basten de Jong. Ben Ort come to pick up. Walt Janssen available in the end zone, as is Lola Dam. And that's the shot. Break force. Oh, what a beautiful disc from Ben Ort. Smith stays sitting on the ground. How on earth did he get so low and get around me like that? That's really graceful disc throwing there from Ben Ort.
Yeah, he's a young guy. He's only 16, but his legs and his arms have quite some reach there.
The float he got on that disc, he got it low, released it early underneath Smith's hand, but the touch was perfect. Just Lola Dam, a yard inside the line, not too close. He didn't have to worry about her feet too much, but it was a beautiful disc from Ben Ort. Nice connection there, the two of them.
Yeah, Ben Ort, his dad, Jeroen Ort, is one of the classic players on the old team, the Red Lights, who used to be the most competitive team out of Amsterdam back in the 90s and early 2000s. And I remember seeing, I've been in the Netherlands for 6 years, and seeing them at tournaments together. Ben, whenever they weren't playing, Ben was just throwing, finding new ways to throw, finding better ways to throw, learning how to get the touch on his throw, learning how to get the far hucks. He just loves throwing, and he has basically all the throws. And now that he's kind of grown a bit, he has that reach, and it's really hard to mark him. He will be playing next weekend. We have the Dutch Nationals actually on these fields and he'll be playing on my team, the Cambo Cakes, looking to get a win, become Dutch champions next week. So now the poll's up, and Brown Chicken will play their offense.
J9 moving across to Dan Zwan, to Suzanne Waverock. J9 back to Dan Zwan. The three of them just moving it around between them. The Dutch zone is quite close. Now it's out to the far side of the pitch, moving it to Beth and Isaac. Isaac with that beautiful flick again. It's floating high. It's going to be red. It's too short for Alex Drum. Alex Drum almost gets the foot block, and he's happy to let that one move on. Flicks out again. The 23 shirt of JP Steneker. Kept alive beautifully. Jesse Bakker. Jesse downfield to Leninger. Leninger back to Bakker. Exciting youth team. In fact, as a spectacle, this game has had everything to watch. That is going to be in the air for an age. Underneath it is going to be enough players to bring it out, and Brown Chicken take it down easy. Dan Zwan, I think, getting one of the Dutch players, was it JP Steneker, getting his ankle clipped by Alex Drum on the way through there, but nothing intentional. Brushes it off. J9 gets the play moving again across to Beth and Isaac on that far side. Are we going to see this? Oh, typical stuff from Isaac. He throws the fake backhand. He then comes inside and he's got that flick available. He can pretty much put it anywhere he wants. Now across to Dan Zwan, to J9 again. J9, 3 or 4 fakes. Back to Zwan. Zwan's got options up the line, but none of them. He's got a huge space there, nothing to throw into. Just enough touch from Jesse Bakker to bring the disc to the ground. Turnover back to the Dutch. Bit of a scrappy one this point. 10-7's the score. Grut, the Dutch youth team, doing everything they need to do to keep ahead. And Brown Chicken giving them the disc back a lot at the moment. Every time they give it up. Nick with the disc. He should have laid that. Surely he should have laid that. Niels Boom not going to ground, not keeping it up.
Kaye hovering over the disc for a little too long. That's not exactly within the WIFTF version of the rules, but it doesn't seem to be too contested, and Brown Chicken get an easy score. 10-8 the score now. Still Grut in the lead.
Yeah, great communication there between Brian K.I. and Isaac Connolly. Give him the eyes, flick to that side. Isaac knows exactly where to go. And old experienced players knowing how each other work, what the body language means, and where the likely option is. K.I. flick over the top into the space. So it's 10-8 here in the sunshine in Amsterdam at the Windmill tournament. 2016 edition, bigger and better than ever. Huge, big top over on the far side of the stadium. I don't know if our cameraman Hilco can just whiz up there and show some of the tents over the far side of the pitch. You can just see some of the flags at the festival site over on the far side of the pitch there. That's where the party was taking place last night. Big campfire. There was a massive game of mingle with some 300 people involved, all picking each other up and lying on each other. It was a lot of fun. I think we were out latest. Sky crew representing until late around the campfire.
Yeah, it's nice we didn't have to live stream a game until 1:30 today, but so we said let's have a late night. But then we got our stuff together and we're able to bring you one bonus game here, one round earlier than we even needed to.
And we're looking forward to Austria women versus GB women in the next quarter final. That's going to be available here on Sky. Lola Dam for Grut. Looking for their 1-2 fake. Brian K.I. staying lively, but a nice rescue cut there from Walt Janssen. Sends the disc into the end zone, and that is a throw and a bit. Picks out the receiver, Floor Kullarts available, and the disc from Janssen, not textbook, but certainly effective. And that's a great point. 11-8 the score.
Yeah, that's that indoor throwing experience. And when the breeze is down low, it's really hard to stop these young kids. I remember at Dutch Mixed Championships when they played, they were throwing those blades all over the place. And we have some pretty good mixed teams in that Dutch Mixed Championships, but even older experienced players, they didn't know what to do against bladey throws like that. It's extremely hard to defend those. It's
one of those things that on paper, that's probably a 30% pass. It's not the sort of stock 100%, flat disc running into an open receiver. But if your 30% passes are coming off, what have the other team got to do to stop you from winning the game? There's pretty much nothing they can do. If you're going to throw the 30% discs and bring them down the whole day, it's a very, very hard team to play against.
Yeah, it's 30% for most people, but these players actually practice that throw, and for them it's no longer 30%. They know how to do that throw. They know how to put it into that location where only the receiver can get it. So it's a nice strategy. It doesn't work so well when it gets a little windier, but today it's perfect conditions for them to throw those blades, and it's definitely causing brown chicken some problems.
Yeah, so both of these teams in 9th and 10th in the power pool, or not power pool, the Swiss draw format, and really it's about points difference at this stage. If either team can pull out a big win, if Grut can continue to take points off brown chicken, that will do them very well. But the pull has gone out to the back of the end zone, and J9 brings it up for brown chicken. J9 Weissmuller. What did she do there? I missed that entirely.
She just went for a fake and it slipped out of her hands.
It has an immediate turnover. Goods with the disc. Blurs a no look and a travel called by Brian K.I.
Can we get a quick replay on that? I don't think that was a travel. It looked like he threw and went.
Let's have a look at that. Picks the disc up. No look. Now we're back in the action. We'll have another look at that in a minute. Baston de Jong going low. Maybe it wasn't. It didn't have a good pivot established in the first place. Mignard with the disc now for Grutz. Floats it into the end zone. Nicely caught by Isa Moncu. And 12-8, this Dutch youth team, average age of 17.5, really putting pressure on Brown Chicken, Brown Cow. They extend a 4-point lead, and this could be enough to get them into that quarter-final spot they so obviously want.
Yeah, it's a bit tough. They are the 10th place team right now, and they were a couple victory points down below. I think 7, 8, and 9 were pretty close when I saw the last Swiss ranking. So it will take them to do well and one of those teams to do poorly, and hopefully it's a team. Hopefully the teams that they have won and beaten play well, because that can also pull you up. If you beat teams that do well, that pulls your points up. It's extremely hard to calculate, but all you need to know when you're playing is that every point counts, and as much as you can score, and every time you give up the disc, that could be something that pulls you down. Every time you score the disc, that could be something that pulls you up. So all you have to do, score every point. It's impossible to calculate where you're going to go. If I was Grut, I would really try and shut down as many points as possible, try and get as big of a lead as possible, see if they can propel themselves into that top 8.
So because of this super cumulative nature of this, if Grut have a big win here, it reduces the value of Brown Chicken. So other teams who've beaten Brown Chicken suddenly get less benefit from that win. So it's very interesting how it all works. But yes, every point counts, and right now Brown Chicken are swinging it around the back with J9 and Lindquist. Lindquist back to J9 again. The three ladies here with Suzanne on this near side, swinging it around, finding Danzwan. And stretching that cup, they got a deep shot, an overloaded deep player. Two big receivers, Trevor Smith. Oh, going up super early was Walt Janssen, but leaving a little bit too early. He had a touch on that D if he needed it, but KI had read it, waited for the disc to come down and took it easily.
Yeah, I think if Walt just jumped a second later, he would be the highest person he would have gotten to. He just missed it by a hair. I think he did have. It didn't look like he had positions sandwiched between two Brown Chicken players, but he's the king of the skies. Sometimes you see his back of his shirt says Skywalker, and that tells you a bit about the type of style of player that he is.
So if you do want to get in touch with us, we'd really appreciate it. Send us a message. Hashtag Windmill 2016 is the place to get us on Twitter. You can also tweet me direct at Tom Styles, or tweet Skyd Magazine. We're watching all of those different streams. There's lots of different ways of getting in touch with us. But Twitter is the easiest, quickest way of getting in touch. We are also watching the comment stream on the YouTube stream, so we'll see some of your messages on there, but it's difficult for us commentators to watch that. Try not to use too much bandwidth. There's the stream coming back to us as well as the stream going out. Big disc straight away into the sky. Baston de Jong chasing this down. Trevor Smith on the chase as well. Big bid from Trevor. Just enough physical presence and mental interference in Baston's game. Trevor Smith, huge presence chasing that disc down. It was very close to the corner. It would have been a touch and go whether Baston's feet would have been in, but the disc goes up. Huge bid. Baston probably would have been out anyway, but great physical presence. You don't necessarily have to get the touch to provide enough distraction for the other player to misread it and misgrab it.
Yeah, it's uncharacteristic. I think he just got in Boston's head. He was in bounds and put a hand on it, and he usually comes down with that, but there's just the big body there of Trevor. And now the disc is going back up.
Who had it, Baston de Jong or Alex Drum? The two of them and there's actually been a call on the throw. The disc is going back anyway, but great atmosphere down here on the pitch, and Baston and Drum, both of them grabbing that disc around each other's shoulders. I think they've enjoyed the competitive nature of that matchup. Brian Ki coming underneath. Dishes it nicely to Isaac. He's going to fake the backhand. He's going to try and throw a flick. And I think Ort has finally worked that strategy out, and he's trying to take away that flick, which is so deadly. Zwan calling the straddle, which it certainly was. Isaac, oh nice, it's a great disc from Zwan. Opens up, there's the flick from Isaac Connolly into the path of Alex Drum, who just chases it down, much to the frustration of Baston de Jong. Hot in pursuit, but not able to catch up the gap. And Brown Chicken, they are back within 2 points. 10-12 is the score.
Yeah, I love the atmosphere on that D that went back from Boston, and who's that guy that he was guarded? The guy who went for the grab. I'm not sure what his name is, the Brown Chicken player. You could see both players just laughing and enjoying themselves. Super hotly contested game, but both teams really seem to be respecting each other. Lots of smiles. That's what Windmill brings, just smiles and competitive play. I have here the open brackets, which are also set up for quarterfinals, just for our viewers to know. We have on one side of the bracket, GB Open will take on Ireland Open. Ireland Open, I know before that last round, were in 9th place, having a hard time trying to get themselves into that top 8. Looks like they managed to get themselves in that 8th spot. Then we have France Open versus Free Speed, one of the top club teams from Switzerland, from Basel. Then on the other side of the bracket, we have Bad Skid versus Italy Open, two extremely physical teams. That should be a great match to watch. And finally, the Big Easy from Austria versus Denmark Open on the other side of the bracket. So some great games will be coming up. We won't be streaming any quarterfinals from the men's. We will be streaming a semifinal game. So we're going to do the quarterfinals in the women's division, and Open and women play at the same time.
So big disc from Ben Ort into the end zone. Brian Kay trying to put pressure on it, but it's not able to prevent that disc from safely landing in the hands of the number 34 shirt of Niles Boom. And that's 13-10. Every point counting in this Swiss draw format. You're watching Skyd Magazine's coverage from the Windmill tournament in Amsterdam. The heart of European quality ultimate. So many national sides here, bringing the standard up and up and up in every division. And a really unique format, which it means every point counts in every game you play. The Swiss draw format and a power ranking system that comes from that. It's a combination of the points you score against the teams you beat and the relative strength of those teams based on the other games they play. So I think Brown Chicken was saying earlier this tournament they lost a game, but because of the other results in their pool, in the draw, they actually increased their ranking because they only lost the game by 1 point, and one of the teams that had beaten them previously had taken a heavy defeat elsewhere in the draw. So, no, heavy win elsewhere in the draw. So they've been beaten closely by a team who are much better. That's sort of it, how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah. Super cumulative is what you have to remember.
Yeah, Brown Chicken, interesting. They told me for every single one of their players, this is their first windmill, so amazing they could get a whole team of people to come for their first time, and they seem to be having a great time enjoying the atmosphere here in Amsterdam.
So Beth Lieberts, faking and sending that disc high pressure. Oh, but Isaac Connolly rises. And the first not perfect disc from Connolly. Superb defense from JP Stenica. Gets in front of the huge outstretched figure of Trevor Smith, and Smith really enjoying the youthful exuberance of these young Dutch gents playing with real aplomb. In fact, he's been D'd by some of the ladies as well earlier in the points. Floor Cullart's taking a great position on D earlier, but that's uncharacteristic error, so the Brown Chicken team have got it again. Alex Drum chasing that one down. Beautiful disc into the end zone from Suzanne Waverock, and they score with ease, much to the frustration of some of the Dutch players. 13-11 is the score.
I'm sure JP there is pretty upset. He made that huge athletic play and then his teammate just throws it away. That's always super frustrating. But yeah, Drum on Brown Chicken is something that the Dutch have not had too much of an answer to. Whenever he seems to be going deep, there always seems to be someone who can shoot it to him. Must be frustrating out there to try and cover such an athletic player.
Yeah, Alex Drum and his pink-shorted colleague Trevor Smith have certainly shown how to play in that deep role, and Isaac Connolly's flick. In fact, that was the first disc from Connolly which didn't really land exactly where he was expecting. He needed to stretch it a little bit further, but it came up short, and that gave chance for JP Stenica to come across and Stenica to come across and get that block. But Connolly, up until this point, he's very similar style. Every time he gets the disc, he's going to throw that backhand fake, and then he's going to come around and open up the flick for himself. And it's that flick has been absolutely deadly up until this point. Ben Ort now, and he's going to send a big disc into acres of space. Walt Jansen chasing it down, brings it in, and there's been a call on the throw, a travel on the throw. The disc is going to come back. He had no chase, and Ort is going to have to do it all over again, as is Jansen, who brings himself back into the middle of the pitch.
I think a pick was called because I can't imagine Jansen was that free. I mean, he's a fast guy, but he just had miles of room there. So yeah, it seems he's caught back up to his defender. There seems to have been a pick on the play.
So quick disc to Niles Bohm. Boom to Minyard. Looking for another option. Leniger is there. Leniger back to Ord. What options has he got deep? Nothing going. Oh, that is a disc that I've never seen. In this wind, that is the riskiest disc you're going to see. I'm not sure Baston de Jong is going to contest that. He is going to contest that.
He seems to be calling a foul. Maybe he says he had control. If he didn't have control, if he had control of that disc, no, he seems to have retracted the call. I think it was just a hospital pass, and you kind of have to give that to the defense. They played it clean, and Brown Chicken with the chance now.
Dan Zwan with a huge disc that's going to come right across the side of the pitch. Brian Ki, did he jump out? No, he's just onto the line and floats it into the middle of the pitch. Alex Drum just reeling it in, and there was a call out. We can have a look at that replay. Did he land in? Did he land out? Is the question we're looking for, Mike. Let's have a quick glance at that replay. Oh, he landed in. He landed in. So we're. Oh, yes, he did. Let's see. Has it been called?
Contested out.
It's been contested out.
Yeah, it seems like they called Kaye out. Kaye said, no, I was in. Contested out. Goes back to the thrower. Here in the slow motion replay, it was hard to see live, but it does seem that Kaye did manage to get one foot in before he landed the other foot out. But sometimes it's easier to see on the slow motion replays than in real life. So it'll go back.
It did look at first glance like Kai had landed with both feet at the same time, but there was definitely a first contact was in. Connolly with the flick inside to Drum. Drum to Kai. Kai with a little bit of extra power in that cut, a little bit of frustration building maybe. Min Huyn on the sideline looking down. No options to reset here. Lindquist coming, but this is going to be a disc into the end zone. It's going to be out of the back. Connolly trying to keep it alive, but it's, Josie just beyond her. I think, let's have a look. Did we see that? Was that a greatest opportunity? Did he take off in the right spot? Let's have a look at that again. He's inside when he takes off. He grabs the disc. He just about got rid of the disc before he came back down again. Isaac Connolly, an impressive watch, an exciting player. His sidearms have been quite exceptional this game. And a great grab from Janssen, who sends it into space. One of the Leninger sisters underneath that, takes it two-handed, beautifully done, and running on, dumps back. Oh, terrible choice of discs. Nailsbaum had an open side shot, but tried to take the crossfield pass, and the oncoming defender just ripped that out of the sky. Janssen reads this one beautifully. Back to Leninger. Leninger managing to find a gap through to Minard. Big disc into space. Brought down by Basten de Jong. No mistakes. It's 14-11 to the young side from the Netherlands. And the time cap is on.
Time cap's on, so here at Windmill, you finish that point, add 1, so it's a game to 15 anyways, since Grut have 14. So but we will play all the way to 15, even if there seems to be somewhat of a comeback from Brown Chicken. There's no hard cap here at Windmill. You always have to play to a score.
And how long are the games here, Ravi, for those people who never played before?
They are, so there's 90-minute rounds in between games, but the game time ends at 85 minutes, so there's a 5-minute gap between the two games. So we will have the Austria GB game starting probably immediately after this one, but there will be a 5-minute gap between now and then when the time officially starts for GB Austria in the women's quarterfinal.
And we'll be right here on Skyd Magazine covering 3 more games for you today. And if you are watching, just do us a couple of favors. Please share the link on your social media. Spread the word about Live Ultimate being on today. If you can put a link out to the broadcast schedule, and we'll be filling that in with the names of the teams that, as we know who they are. KI now putting a big disc up to Isaac Connolly. Chases that down, reads it beautifully, grabs it high. Trevor Smith running in. He's going to be marked heavily. And he manages to spread the play. And just keeps it in, knees down inside the end zone. Is he throwing it away or is he celebrating? Never sure in that situation. I think, are they talking about it? Was Smith in? Smith was in, yeah. Smith looked like he had an easy chance there. I think it was that throwaway looked a little bit more like it was frustration rather than celebratory.
Yeah, well, no, I thought, to me it looks celebratory. That's I think, an American versus British understanding of what celebrations look like to some Americans. To me, that seemed like he knew he was in. He was calling it a celebration. So now, 14-12 here. Grut's really, if they want to get a chance to get in that top 8, they should really try and close this one out with a 3-point lead. Sadly, I'm guessing, unless something very exciting and dramatic happened with the other top 8 teams, I'm not sure Grut's, with only a 3-point win here, will manage to get in that top 8, but it's really hard to predict all these things. So we'll see after this round which mixed teams make it into their quarterfinal bracket.
I'd like to say hello to Tom Wood, who's watching. Thank you very much for your tweet, Tom. And he's glad to hear that we were leading the way in the party last night, which we were. And also to Rob Dover, who's been watching, enjoying the coverage that we're bringing to you. We'll be bringing to you all day and all tomorrow as well from Amsterdam. Ort now with a big shot to the end zone. Lola Dam chasing it down. She's going to have to do something spectacular to get to the end of that one. And frustration from the other Dutch team members. Floor Kullarts Signaling to Benoit that just keep a lid on it. Don't throw this away. Every point counts in this situation. Brown Chicken have really clung on to this fast-running, energetic, youthful Dutch side. Grut's part of the Dutch youth system. On Benoit grabbing that disc and running on, and Dan Zwan insists